Here we got the AMADA floating shelves. Let's open them up and see what they look like. We get a thank you and an installation guide here. We get a bunch of hardware here. It looks like a range of drywall anchors and metal screws. So within the hardware, we have the long lag screws. These are M4s, they're 50 millimeters. Here's the short lag screws, M4s, 30 millimeters. We have some short screws right here. Here we have the drywall anchors, and these anchors over here are used for concrete walls. Looks like we get 6 of these metal brackets here. They each have multiple entry points on them. They've got a rugged textured feel and it feels like pretty strong metal as well. We're gonna get 3 of these wood panels right here. It also has kind of a textured abrasive feel to it, kind of like an unsanded feel to the wood. But this is Paulownia wood, and I like Paulownia wood because it matures in under 10 years and it has like a higher strength to weight ratio than say balsa wood. It's also denser than balsa wood, but it's porous enough that you'd probably need to prime it or condition it if you wanted to paint it a different color. The brackets are about 1/6 and 1/8 of an inch by just under 4.5 inches. The first piece of wood is just under 11.5 inches by 5 3/4 of an inch. The second one is about 14 1/8 of an inch by 5 3/4 of an inch. And the largest one is 16.5 inches by also 5 3/4 of an inch. And this is probably 3/4 inch wood before it was treated, and now it is 5/8 inches wide. So what's really cool about these is that there's a couple different ways to mount them on the wall. Now one of them is that you can have it up against the wall like this, with this bracket on top and this one being on bottom down here. So then you can have the mount kind of holding up and supporting the weight of the shelf like this. Now the second thing that you can do, and what I think I'm going to do, and I like this one better, is that you can place it against the wall like this, and then this would be on top and this would be on bottom, and then it slides in here and it kind of supports the weight of it like that. And that also kind of gives the shelf like a rack on the side like that, and that's why I think I'm going to do it like that. You're also going to need a screwdriver with a Phillips head. If you're looking for a wood stud, you're going to need a wood stud finder. You might also need a hammer to drive your anchors into the wall. I've got a laser level here to help me mark up my lines, and we're also probably going to need a power drill. And of course, don't forget a pen or pencil for marking your spots in the wall. Okay, first thing we're going to do is attach the bracket to the actual floating shelf itself. So how we're going to do that is we're going to decide what side of the shelf do we actually want facing up. I like this one a little bit more, it looks cleaner, and then we decide what side do we want facing forward. And when we do that, we determine how we're going to hang the bracket and then line it up like so. And once we have the bracket lined up on the wood, on the underside you're going to find 2 little slots like this. I'm going to place a mark inside of that one right there where I'm going to start a screw. I'll simply start a screw by pushing it in because this is pretty porous wood again, so it's easy to just get it started like that. And I'm going to give it just a few screws until it's sticking out like that, and then I'm going to retract it and reset my bracket. I have the hole that I started. I'm going to line the bracket up over top of it like that. I'm going to reinsert that screw into that hole, and then I'm going to screw it in the rest of the way. And you can see I'm just doing this by hand. It's really easy to screw into this wood. Now we're left with this slot to contend with, and I'm just going to drill this screw right in there by hand as well. I just push it in until it's like that, and now I'm going to screw it in. And now that feels nice and firm on there. It's got a real tight grip. And we're just going to do that to all of our brackets and shelves. So now that I have them all pieced together and looking like this, I'm gonna place my first piece where I know I want the first screw to hang, and I'm gonna mark it. Once we have our first mark, it's time to find out where we're going to put our second mark. Okay, now we're going to take our power drill to those holes that we marked. And because I'm in plaster here, I'm going to be using the long lag screws on top. Now I'm going to hang up the shelf, and I'll do that by inserting the screws into these parts here and then just sliding it down on top. Now you see I do have an option to add a second screw here if I want to, but to me it feels pretty good right now, and I'm not putting anything very heavy on this, so let's just give it a shot how it is. Oh, cool. Okay, now that we got that one up, let's get the other 2 up as well, doing the same process as we did for the first one. Here you can see me using a combination of a ruler and this laser line to find the exact points where I want to place my next screws. And it works really well like this. It keeps things steady and nice and clear. So I finally got my shelves up. What do you think? I think they look really good. I think they feel really strong up here, like I can pull down on them even when they have these books and stuff on them, and they all feel really solid. And again, I only have 2 screws holding up each one on the top setup here, but yeah, they all look really good and they all feel really solid in there. And thankfully they were pretty easy to clean after I got them installed. I just wiped them with a wet rag. I think these are great for hanging up all kinds of things like books, plants, collectibles. I got my music box on this one, and these were really easy to install, so I think these are perfect for anybody who's looking to install shelves in a really easy way. And if there are any negatives to it, in the product pictures, it looked like it came with a cat, and I don't think it came with a cat. No, no cat.